Hey everybody, this is my introductory video to the YouTube, although there are some people I see that are just doing it on Facebook who don't have YouTube. So for shame for all of you, create a YouTube, it's not that hard. You can use your phone. Uh, but the YouTube, Big Rig Community Group build off thing, bobber. Yeah, you know what it is. There's 82 of us in here, so we all know what we're doing. I'm desperately trying to find some way that is not quite so in the sun and washing out the camera. That's one bad thing about putting the stuff on this side of the table is now I have to deal with this window where it was illuminating my face before, now it is behind me. So again, we'll figure it out as time goes along. I may have to record videos at night instead of during the day, but nobody's here right now, so I got some time. Anyway, so what we're going to be doing here is actually two things. Hey, we're going to try. We'll see how any of this goes before it's all said and done. But in the meantime, we're going to give it the old college try. Basically, because I had an idea for a project, something I'd wanted to sort of build. It's not as much at the same time, but just two pieces of a project that I wanted to build. And then the rules were enforced, which is again just a poke, nothing mean intended by it, but that you can't use a single axle day cab, which is something I wanted to do for the project that I wanted to do. So that is now my unofficial entry because I can't do that one. And then I have my official entry. So I'm going to try to build a whole bunch of stuff in the course of 6 months. I think it's perfectly reasonable. Now, if anybody knows my building rate knows that this is the most outlandish claim to anything I've ever tried to do before. But new shop, new year, we're going to give it the old college try. If nothing else, building all this stuff will, of course, give me a problem of where I'm going to display it, but I'm going to at least have the boxes out of the shelves, and it gives me some more space for new stuff. Yes? So let's spin the camera around and show you exactly what it is that I'm going to give the wild flying attempt at accomplishing before the end of June. So this is what I wanted to build, but I'm not allowed to, technically speaking. This is, of course, the single drive Freightliner day cab, or white Freightliner, I guess I should say. Technically speaking, don't want to offend any brand purists out there. I wanted to build this and attach it to a trailer, but as we see here, we're one axle short, and I don't have the dual drive, and I really don't know if I'd actually go buy the dual drive. I'm not. I know this is a terrible thing to say for some of you guys, but I'm not that into cab overs. I have driven one, and it was a horrifying experience because it was poorly maintained, and I would just assume. Well, actually, I've driven two. Both of them were poorly maintained, and I would just assume never do that again. But I wanted to do this because I wanted to hook it to this trailer back here, which is. It's a more modern reissue. This is sort of like the very first. Ooh, it's dusty. Very first nostalgia box art thing that AMT did. This is actually like a 2002 reissue of this trailer, I think it was. But this is the old AMT Holloway 5-car transport trailer from like a 1960s vibe. It's a single axle transport trailer hooked to a single axle day cab. They've got hooked to the old Ford L9000. Or not L9000, old Ford Louisville front end here. Be interesting to see this kit get reissued. Although I think technically speaking, you could just build this right now as it stands, just not put the box on the back of the frame. Although that makes it a single axle, not a dual axle. At any rate, it'd be interesting to see them reissue that that piece, because that would have been the perfect thing to put with this, because it's literally the thing that's paired with it. So this is, like I said, a newer reissue that it would appear. I can't remember where I saw the copyright date on this. But, anyhow, let's see, 1998. Okay. 1998, the Ertl Company in Dyersville. So it's not an original one of these, thank God, because it would probably be warped beyond all recognition at this point. But as you see, the box has taken a beating over the years, being transported around and being an odd-shaped box for my collection of, automotive kits, but it's all still in the plastic. Not that it matters, although, depending on whether or not I get this trailer done versus other things, maybe this trailer will go with the other build too. Nice multi-piece body, so this will be fun. We'll hope this will probably take a creation of a jig to set up straight, although there looks like there's a reasonable amount of ways that this will go together without being too bad. These transport decals are, they're probably shot, but that's okay. I'm going to use them anyway. And then, want a subscription to the Blueprinter? Yeah. Anybody remember this one? I used to have them for a long time. And then I've got, let's see here, we got 4 of the old, somewhat rubber band in here that the tires got sort of semi-molded, but the old Goodyear truck tires. So I don't know why there's 4 of these since it's a single axle, unless it's a dual axle single axle. All right, so that makes sense. So those right here. You got the little 1 sprue of chrome, and it has the wheels. So it's even though the original box art shows Bud wheels, there are Alcoa's rims in here. So that's an interesting conversion. I wonder when that was done. It also looks like it has like LED style lighting that was obviously never on the original kit either. So kind of an interesting juxtaposition of 90s tech with 80s kit. But everything else is in here. Like it's all in the bags. So it'll be interesting to see how this all builds together. I bought it because I was like, ooh, car trailer, because remember, there really haven't been that many car trailers around. And then, you know, I never really paid that much attention to it after that. I mean, it's a pretty basic, you know, it's build trailer glued together you know, so that's, I guess these are technically the steps, not LED lights. So it'll be interesting to see how square it is with sits. You know, a metal axle, you know, rear end and whatnot, and then there's a upper rear ramps and the drive up ramps. So it'll be, I think it'll look good together. Your mileage may vary on my opinion, but I think it'll look good together. So that's my unofficial entry because I'm not allowed to. None of an axles. So what I'm gonna build, my official entry into the group build is this. Which ironically I just told somebody the other day that I wasn't gonna build because I can't stand the kit. There's nothing bad or wrong with the kit, but I have driven one of these in real life and the kit is not accurate to the real thing, in my personal opinion. Neither is the ProStar. But the ProStar is going with another project that'll come along sooner than later. So this is the International Lone Star by Mobius. I'm assuming that everybody has seen the inside of one of these. I know there's at least 1 or 2 of these being built. I was trying to build something that, you know, somebody else wasn't building, which was going to be my single axle day cab, but I think, actually, no, somebody else was going to build that too, because they had to change it too. I think it was, I'm trying to think of who's going to build the other one. But you can see, it's all still in the plastic. I've got to go chase down a Revelo Germany instruction manual for it. A big old honking cab. Yeah, it's like, well, a lot of this kit, like a lot of it is pretty decent, accurate in terms of what it is. Because the Lone Star is just a really, really fancy ProStar. In terms of what from this part. A little dusty in here. But like this cab, I don't know, I've never taken the two to set up beside each other. These 2 cabs should be identical as far as what they are, because I'm not sure if the ProStar is technically a stand-up or not, because the ProStar itself is a mid-roof, and everything, this part up here is just a fairing. So there is now, if they would update this kit, they would have probably put a whole new body for it, but there are what they call Skyrise sleepers for the Lone Star now. Although, if there's a Skyrise sleeper in the ProStar and it's the same cab and it fits the same way, you'll be able to like convert it over. But the problem with this kit, in terms of its accuracy to now, is this kit is very, very accurate to the 2011, 2012 Lone Star. In 2013 and beyond, when they switched to the DEF system, which is diesel exhaust fluid for the non-trucker fluent, the entire ability to have this fancy running board setup with everything being chrome and all these chicken lights over the fuel tanks, this all got taken off. You can't buy one like this anymore because your DEF tank sits right here in front, right behind the front wheel and right in front of the steps, and that has gotten basically a fleet look to all of these because there's no like a fiberglass running board like the ProStar has. So these are all now def tank, fuel tank with just external steps on it, and then a set of external steps back here to reach the glad hands and whatnot. Really updating this would literally require just those pieces. Give me a def tank. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a resin conversion for this, or somebody should do a resin conversion for this. But, you know, you just, I mean, the steps are still here, and they're in pretty much the same spot, although this one's a little bit lower down towards the top of the fuel tank, like a regular truck. But, you know, just all you need to do is take this toolbox off, put a set of exposed steps back here, and then shift the fuel tank that way ever so slightly so the fuel, the top of the fuel tank is directly underneath the driver's door, and then the def tank goes there, and then the other side gets stripped of all its stuff too, because then one side would be different than the other. Very, very simple update for Mobius to make this into a current Lone Star, but for whatever reason they've decided not to do it as of yet. I've been pestering, and I'm just not really getting anywhere with it. But this is should be an interesting build. By the way, if you're ever really wanting to talk about this and you're like, why in the world is this, you need the Revell of Germany instructions? Now, Revell of Germany sold this kit. It's the same exact kit. It was just shared with Mobius. It's because if you're building along with this thing, the frame just all of a sudden, Shazam, exists. Like, there's no mention in this instructions of like how to put it together. Like your schematics here for the front axle, schematics here for the rear axle. There's no schematics whatsoever for how the frame goes together. It's just a bunch of numbers pointing at each other, and it's not blown up like this. Also, these schematics are very, very tiny. But, it is what it is. I'm not going to be, sitting here complaining about it too much. This will be black. This is a fleet build in the sense that I'm building a set of trucks for my own personal car hauling fleet. So all the trucks will be black. I know that's boring, but it all matches to me, so that's more important than whether or not you think I should paint it candy blue or something like that. I have peeked at this kit because I think I've got a few things off here. Basically, I got the only thing I've actually taken off of here, off of the parts tree itself, was the dashboard, because one of the first things you do is build the interior in this kit. And basically I took the dashboard pieces apart and tried to figure out how in the world this all goes together. And I got very, very frustrated by the fact that it doesn't fit together particularly well. There's a daylight gap in between there, and there's really not a whole heck of a lot I could do in terms of cleaning it up as far as the parts being raw plastic. So it's gonna just need. The problem was in real life there's a gap there, but it's not that big because this is sort of the very edge of the the part that goes into the windshield, and then this is the top of the thing. So it's gonna take some clamping to get this in here. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily a bad design. It just doesn't really fit all that well. Trying to put decals over this engraved thing is, I don't know, it's a little bit of a nonsensical thing to me too, just because of the way the real truck sits. And then when you try to mount this together, the actual dashboard halves, you have a whole interface issue here too, as you can clearly see when I'm just trying to test fit these things together. And this is why I didn't build this the first time around. There's going to be a lot of gluing and a lot of super gluing, a little bit maybe, a lot of zap kicker if you're going to build this, because it is just, I mean, what this and every Mobius kit has ever wound up being is basically, hey, AMT Ertl never went out of business, and they decided to make a truck. Because anybody who tells you that Mobius is Tamiya quality, or Tamiya quality, has obviously never built a Tamiya kit a day in their life. They've only heard about them. They don't know what they really are. There's no Tamiya kit made, at least modern Tamiya kit. I mean, you can get some of the old motorized ones, I suppose. But there's no modern Tamiya kit made that fits together that way. And then we're gonna pull with this is this, which is the so big I can't get it in the frame. Galaxy Limited car hauler trailer, and this is the 44-foot one. I've had a few people when I told them about this idea originally, about mating this to the Lone Star, was, well, you can't put that little bitty trailer with that big truck. Yes, I can. But there actually is a Lamborghini dealership in Chicago that has this exact setup. A very, very fancy, albeit I think theirs is a very dark metallic blue, a very, very fancy, full-on, older style Lone Star like that with all the chrome running boards and everything, hooked up to a, I think it might be a 38-foot, but no, actually it's not. It's a 44-foot. Hooked up to a 44-foot trailer. It has one little Lamborghini Chicago logo on the back of the trailer. The trailer is otherwise blank. Obviously, if you leave it laying around, you don't want to advertise what's inside of it. But yeah, this is what the combination is, and that's what made me think, hey, that's a pretty cool thing. Obviously, they own their own truck, and they own this triaxle gooseneck trailer, and they go to the port in Jersey and pick their cars up for themselves. They don't have them transported. So this is obviously an original 1994 Galaxy Limited kit. This kit is discontinued. You can't get this length of kit before. I basically stole this in a trade on Model Car Magazine's forum from a guy who just wasn't going to build it. And I traded him a couple of drag racing kits I was never going to build. And we all came out happy in the end, I think. So, this is a pretty basic set of instructions here. You build 3 sets of axles. You can build out the engine hoist if you want to. You could build this so that the tailgate and the curbside doors all function or not. And then you sort of build up the chassis as far as the floor and the generator compartment and the support legs. You decide whether or not you want them extended or retracted. Excuse me. Put the spare tire in with the access door, and I'm not sure how you'd ever get that back open again, unless there's a very, very fine lip in it. And then you build up the trailer. You have an access door to the generator, which is hysterical because there's nothing actually in the generator door itself. It's just a compartment. And then you put the engine hoist to the ceiling if you want to. And then you just build the sides of the trailer up. You've got a 5th wheel base, a truck bed floor, and a hitch pin. So we obviously don't need these parts because we'll put the hitch pin obviously, but we don't need the actual 5th wheel because it'll be in the kit itself. And then you have the ability to put ramps in here, as you could do a bunch of different configurations with it. It's like got this ramp with the ramp channel stock, so you could sort of put a second layer, a second height of thing inside the trailer. And this is, again, all still in its original bags, fresh from South Korea. Although this just says motored in Korea, so apparently in 1994 the peninsula was unified. Who knew? I was not aware of that, but you find out all sorts of new things every day. So this is basically your axles, your wheels, a couple of different kick plates and stuff like that. The trailer hitch itself, and then these are your ramps for the trailer. This is all of the stock, styrene stock to build that ramp access, and then you've got. Seem kind of sticky. Yeah, I guess not. You've got your 6 tires. This is a single tire each side. They are Goodyear Eagle tires, which makes me think these are old Monogram tires. I'm pretty sure they're not, but they kind of have that feel to them. They have an R on them, which makes me think that's like Revell, or maybe it just stands for right. No, they are right and left. That's great. They actually give you the right amount here. These are 2 right tires. These are 2 right tires, and these are 2 left tires. So technically, we're gonna have 1 unidirectional tire going the wrong direction. Oh well. Thanks for at least thinking of this, right? And then you have the big roof and the big floor, and then you have your big sides. These look like they're pretty much in one piece as far as being warped and whatnot. And then you have the cardboard make an awning, and then the awning frame rails are in the kit too, so you can make the. It's just a template. You'd have to cut something out of something else. You can't just obviously put this here, but it's kind of cool that they gave you the template to make an awning if you want to make sort of put a race car underneath of here kind of thing. Now the thing would be try to find something that's awning material like as far as the colors and patterns that it would be scaled down to 1/24 scale. But one thing I noticed about this is at least I didn't see there's no decals in here. All of the DOT lights and stuff aren't, or the DOT striping isn't here. It should be here, or at least maybe it didn't come with it originally. But the later versions, if you have like a 38-foot trailer or the 26-foot trailer, they all have decals. Sure, put this back in here so this will float. And then this last one here is your front bulkhead. This is where your legs would go, your dolly legs, and then this is the back door, and then this is the back door floor, and then this is the front bulkhead. Well, you get your lights are molded into there, so you need a little either Molotol or foil on that, and then paint it with some clear paint to give that a little bit of a reflective quality that it doesn't come with out of the box, obviously, and then your semi-unidirectional tires. Oops. But at least if you get the later ones, they come with like not for hire signs for the truck and some DOT striping that would technically be required on this this big of a trailer. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna aim for. I'm gonna build the 2 car haulers. One is a vintage car hauler, and I want to build sort of that car hauler a lot because of the fact that I can hook it to a bunch of different trucks. I've never gotten one of the California haulers yet. I've actually thought I had one, but I don't. But that can pull it. The Mack day cab that got reissued, not the red one, the MPC kit, because that's like a heavy duty truck. That should be up to like a logging trailer or something like that. But the other Mack that has is a road truck. If you don't know the difference, by the way, between the 2 Mack trucks, the red one's a heavy duty, and because of its heavy duty nature and the engine being bigger, the cab is actually offset to fit the transmission and everything. That's why the one mirror is really, really big, and if you look at it, the cab is not as wide as it should be. A very heavy duty setup would not be something you'd pull a single axle car trailer with, but the other Mack would be good for that. And then you could pair it with you can pair it with sleeper trucks. Obviously, if you wanted to build like the W9 or the dual drive Freightliner or the Diamond Rio, the White Western Star. I mean, there's a bunch of different truck the 352 or 352 Pacemaker. All those other AMT trucks will obviously fit the trailer in terms of its actual size. Although none of them will look quite right with that new fancy wheels that they put in there. That's pretty funny. Those supposed to be. Those have to be a set of wheels and tires out of the like the T600 that they made back then, because they're not the original Bud wheels that came in the other trailers that it's supposed to have that does not. Which is kind of cool because now you don't have to worry about replacing them with one of the Mobius wheel sets. Anyway, guys, that about wraps it up for this one. We'll see you guys on the other side.